First of all, thank you
Yeah,
for taking the time because I know how busy you are, and for you to
my
take the
pleasure.
time and share, that would be amazing. Walk us through your entrepreneurial journey.
Well, so I was raised by entrepreneurs. Both my mom and dad were entrepreneurs, and all three of my brothers have their own businesses as well. I think that we've probably landed in this place just because we were raised, by parents who had that mindset, but also with a fair amount of grit to and resilience to allow us the mindset to take the risk. And yeah, it's 25 years since I got into real estate. Which is hard to believe given my age, I know, but 25 years since I got into real estate, and it's most of the growth has been fairly organic. I didn't set out with some big goal to build a big team. It's always been we've grown organically to match the needs of our clients. So as our client base has grown, the fundamental question we ask ourselves, what do our clients need to be serviced properly? And therefore the team has grown to match that expectation.
And before getting into real estate, what was the background?
So I have a Bachelor of Commerce. My major is in marketing and my minor is in psychology. I took a break between high school and university. I ran an events team for a beer company. Well, I was underage, so that's kind of funny. And then I worked in advertising at a firm downtown and continued on at that firm while I did my undergrad.
Got it. And then you switched to real estate, and what was that pivotal moment from being a solo agent to becoming a team leader? How that happened?
Yeah. I never wanted to get into real estate. My mom was a realtor, and I always said to her that she had the worst job in the world. There was no flexibility. She never had nights or weekends. She was constantly in everyone else's beck and call. Anyway, after finishing my degree, I was working in advertising and I liked it, but I didn't love it. And she said, I really need help. Can you just come and be my assistant for a year? And then you can figure out your path after that year. So I did that unlicensed. I think I made like, I don't know, 25 grand or something. And at the end of the year, she said, listen, you're good at this. It's fun for us to work together, which it was. I really enjoyed working with her. So I went and got licensed. And it was back in the days where like essentially if you could spell your name, you could get your real estate license. So it was pretty low barrier to entry. I was licensed very quickly. And we've grown since then. We've grown by, I'd say, I don't know, 2,500%. My mom stopped working so I've been in it since 2000, and she stopped working, I'd say, around 2010 or so. But she was still my daily phone call, my mentor, the best teacher in the world. She didn't really want to be involved in the business side of it and growing the business. She just wanted to, not just, she wanted to focus on the client side. And she was, by far the best agent I've ever met. She always took the time to understand the client's needs. So it was a nice balance for me to learn from her, but then also have sort of that business piece tied in.
So at the beginning, it was just the two of you?
Yeah. Our first hire was an administrator who stayed on with us until she retired a couple of years ago. And we would have hired her, I don't know, maybe 15 years ago. Does that sound about right? 15, 16 years ago. And then my next hire was our first sales assistant, whose name is Megan. And Megan is still with us, and she's our top producer on the team. So she worked as a sales assistant for a few years, and then obviously very, very capable in that regard. Sorry, there's a very loud car going by. Very capable in that regard, and then has taken that skill set as well as her own skills and network and built a phenomenal business.
What was her role as a sales assistant?
Basically anything and everything that I needed help with. She was an incredible assistant because there was nothing that was below her, and she understood the importance of urgency, of anticipating needs, of being reactive as well as proactive. Very good at communication, relationship building, just a natural salesperson, but also very good with the attention to detail that's required in our jobs.
And if you were to look back right now, or she would like to, which probably never going to happen, to branch out herself, what would you advise her to be her first hire?
I would warn her that I would kill her if she tried to leave. That would be my first
Fair enough.
conversation.
I agree.
She's a very smart person. She wouldn't need my advice, but if she were to ask my advice, then yeah, of course, having a really strong admin who is also licensed would be the first hire.
To be the first hire. And how many
Yeah.
staff do you have? How many agents? How many are staff?
We're roughly 50-50. So independent contractors being our sales team is approximately 30 people, and then our staff leadership is about 30 people as well. Our model is very different. We're not a brokerage model. I think the brokerage model is pretty broken in North America. We have a true team model. I think it's quite unlike what we see in the marketplace.
I'm aware of what you're talking, and I totally agree with what you just said. But for people that are not aware of what you're talking about, what's the difference between the two?
Well, a brokerage model is sort of every agent. It's like hunt what you kill what you eat. Everyone's out hunting for the same piece of business. There's a lack of collaboration. I believe that in any business, collaboration is a key to success, whether it's within your own team, company, or within the industry. So I think it's mostly a mind. Yes, it's structure. It's a structure issue. We're 50-50 admin sales, where most people are probably 20% admin, 80% sales. But it's also just a mindset issue of we're winning together. I'm not going to fight Megan for business. Megan's not going to fight another team member for business. The more signs there are out there, the better we all are.
What model you have in place? COS, Rockefeller, which one you adopted?
Sorry, can you repeat the question?
The business model that you implemented for your team, do you have like a structure to it? Like it's very popular.
It's unique. It's unique to Heaps. It's not a replica of anyone else.
It's not.
Yeah, no, so it's not a replica of what anyone else is doing. I'd say it's very specific to Heaps.
Very specific. Got it.
Our secret sauce, I can't share our secret sauce, right?
Fair enough. Um, how much is based on the culture? The
I
secret
mean,
sauce.
culture eats strategy for breakfast, right? So if you can have the best strategy in the world, and if your culture is broken, you're not going to accomplish anything. So I would say culture is very important. I mean, it's a timely conversation because we're in the midst of, I have to be careful what I say. So I will just say this, that I will always pick people over money. So if we have a people issue, I would rather let someone go and risk losing money than keep the money and risk losing culture.
Yeah, I totally agree. Tough decision for many. It's a very instantaneous decision.
Yeah, it is. I mean, hire slow, fire fast.
Yeah, yeah, 100%.
Yeah, I think within the first 3 days if someone's going to make it or not.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, you're such a strong team, and your production and your structure is better than most brokerages that we know out there.
Yeah.
What made you decide to be in a team structure rather than opening your own brokerage? What's the
It's
advantage?
just what I like. It's just people. I like people, right? I don't want a factory. We have people, I don't know, 20, 25 people who apply to work here every week. We take in a year, maybe 5, maybe 8, I don't know. We're very picky about who we surround ourselves with. So I'm not driven by money, and that's a very easy thing to say when you've had success. So I acknowledge that when I say it. I would be driven by money if I didn't have it, I'm sure. But the focus now for me is I want to have joy in the day. Like I want to come in, I want to be surrounded by people I love. I think the team knows I care about them. I often say that I'll go to war for them, which I would. I keep war paint in my desk. But I like to see people succeed. I take great, great, great pride in watching someone grow from being an assistant to being one of the top producers in the entire Canadian real estate space. That's a pretty beautiful thing to be part of.
Are you
So yeah,
still
my motivation's different. I would say the short answer is my motivation's different.
and that's the main reason for picking and choosing to stay as a team rather than opening your own brokerage.
Brokerage. Yeah.
Are you still involved in production?
I am. Yep. It's gone down. It's changed a lot. So I would say 4 or 5 years ago, I was involved in probably 70% of the business. Now I'm involved in maybe 20% of the business. So we're shifting it, right? I think, as businesses evolve, it's really important to recognize what people's strengths are and play to those strengths. And I'm very clear on my strengths, which are marketing and strategy, business development. I still enjoy sales. I still enjoy leadership, but I definitely have leadership weaknesses too. I mean, I'm making myself sound like it's sunshine and rainbows. I am not the perfect leader. I am not someone who's going to sit and have a 3-hour conversation with someone. I just don't have the bandwidth for that. So yeah, I surround myself by people who can backfill my weaknesses.
Do you, I wanted to ask you, do you have these key people that are your implementers and the people that take care of and cuddle the people?
Yeah.
Yeah, Yeah.
Yeah, we do. We have, I mean, first of all, the sales teams support each other. They have a very nice fabric of their own, I would say, as do the administrative team and the two interconnected. But then on the leadership team, I have a very strong right hand who's become a good friend, and our profile is similar. You know, we're both single women of an age. So we have a lot of good laughs about that. And then our one of our administrators has since been promoted to chief of staff, and she's a great sort of connector of the leadership team. She takes a ton off my plate. And then we have a sales leader whose brain is sort of like a CRM. It's kind of crazy. I say that in a complimentary way. So yeah, I'm surrounded by people who are very good at what they do, which allows me to be good at what I do.
Do you think there is a formula, or you from your experience, and at which time you're starting to drift off production as a team leader?
It's a funny question because I used to spend time, like whatever, partner with someone who worked at a competing brokerage, and they came on an awards trip with me, and my company, like my parent company, is Royal LePage, and they reached out and said, "We're not sure we're comfortable with someone from X and X company being at this trip, as they're going to hear all the insider tips of what we do and how we structure things." And my response was, "You can give someone the playbook, but they need to know how to implement it." You know,
100%.
it's not, so you ask about the secret sauce. I could write out my business formula and strategy. The next person won't do it the same way. It would be different.
Yeah,
So I've just made a decision. I mean, my team, we're very open. The team knows how the company is structured, how we run, what the metrics are, what the financials are. I think everyone's pretty clear on that, but it's not a formula that I would want to share widely because it's not something that most people would implement the same way.
I understand. Can I ask what CRM you're using? It seems to be
Of
one.
course you can. We use Follow Up Boss.
Every Okay, everybody's using Follow Up Boss.
Yeah. We've used about 12 million of them, it feels like, but Follow Up Boss is where we've landed.
But right now, I can say Follow Up Boss. If you have a team, Follow Up Boss. I don't
Yeah,
think
I
you
would
can.
recommend it. I mean, I'm probably not the person to ask because I'm not the one running that piece of the business, but I certainly have been happy with it.
Yeah. Are there any software that you use for communication, for example, operation side to communicate with the team?
Well, we have an internal newsletter. We have a WhatsApp group for the sales team and then for the total team. We use Sisu for project management. And then we have our own chat GPT to sort of mirror our voice, the Heaps voice that our team can use for their correspondence.
Nice, nice.
And
And
we AI'd our internal processes. I think we have good internal processes.
AI is here to stay. Who doesn't want to jump on board
Without
with that?
question.
Hmm? What's that?
Without question,
Yeah,
and it's designed to make our lives easier. So while I understand the hesitancy, it's not meant to be. It's not going to eliminate people. At least at our company, it won't eliminate people, but it should hopefully allow people more time to focus on the things that they do well.
yeah, 100%. And we're gonna see more and more of things to be implemented in our business by AI. By talking with a lot of leaders, I see a pattern of how they structure their business when it comes to leads. There's teams that they're so focused on their sphere and past clients, and there's marketing where there's a lot of, local business in terms of like flyers and billboards and all of that. Where is your team more towards?
I mean, you're obviously your greatest asset is your CRM, your database. So you'd want to mine your database before you do anything. And I think having really strong so marketing is my background. It's very much my passion. So I think having very strong marketing, which to me means really good copywriting, really good brand language, and then taking it across socials. We used to do a ton of print. I think, I got home one day and saw like 20 real estate flyers in my mailbox. 99% of them were garbage, and I made a decision that I didn't want to be part of something that to me represented garbage. So we stopped doing them. It's funny though, because everyone started copying our format, and I was like, "Ugh, it's time to stop doing it." The second everyone's copying it, you got to move on. So then we started producing a magazine, which is really high-end publication called Beyond, and it's very well received. It's published by the same people who do Toronto Life. And we do that a couple of times a year. And then our big belief is network, like community is how you build. So we have a lifestyle shop, The Lobby in Toronto, which is a retail, art gallery, and event space. And it's just a really nice way to connect with the community. It's become like a community hub.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that because I'm in the world of of organizing events, and it feels like it's the most organic and natural way to gravitate towards people, but also to give back. So I love that. And
Yeah,
then,
it's nice for our agents to have a place to host people too.
yeah, recruiting, how important it is to bring people in. And you touched a little bit on that, on the fact that there's a lot of people actually reaching out to you to be part of your team.
I don't mind people. I love people who are new to the industry. Our top producers are almost all new to the industry and have never worked anywhere else. So no, it's mindset. Are they going to work hard? I mean, the reason I'm successful, I just work harder than most people. It's not like I'm a genius. Well, I am technically gifted, but it's I work harder than most people. I care about the outcomes. I work hard to create good outcomes. So I just want a mindset. I actually have found that some of the best agents I've ever hired are women returning to the workforce after having children because they
Yeah,
can do 400 things at once and
yeah,
stay focused.
yeah.
So yeah, so what does it look like? Someone typically will reach out by email or phone call. I don't take the initial meeting. Our director of sales does. If they make it through the first interview with the director of sales, to typically meet with one or two of our agents or our chief operating officer. If they make it through that, then they'll be given a bit of a test, I would say. And then if they make it through that, then I'll meet them. My final meeting is 5 minutes. I can tell someone's energy right away, whether they're going to be a good fit with us or not. And we are, we're at an interesting point in our in our careers, our lives here at Heaps, is that we are finally in more of a hiring mindset than we have been for 25 years. We recognize the growth potential of the team, and we're wanting now to take on some agents, where historically we've had a bit of a freeze while we perfected our processes.
And are you considering, like, you're already a mega team based on your performance in terms of the number of sales? Now you're thinking of becoming a mega team in terms of number of
Yeah.
agents?
Never mega in terms of number, never mega. I don't ever want to be brokerage. So no, won't ever be like we're pretty small, right? For the volume that we do. So not a mega team, but we would probably take on, I don't know, 5 or 6 agents this year.
Oh, that's amazing. And do they have like somebody that you say, yes, this is a yes from my end as well. Let's hire them. Do they go through like a onboarding process? Is there trainings?
Major.
Major. Yeah. How
Yeah,
long
we
does
have an 8 week apprentice. We have an 8 week apprentice program. So that's the other thing that we recognized early on is we have an industry where you do these kind of obscure learnings on how to become a real estate agent, like meets and bounds, and like what the hell is a meet and a bound. Um, and you're not taught like really how to run a business in real estate. So we have an apprenticeship program where we take new agents and we put them through all of our processes, all of our language, our mindset, everything. And they don't graduate until they've reached certain milestones. And some people don't graduate at all. Some people get to the end of the program and they're just not the right fit. And that's okay. They've gone to free education and they can go use it somewhere else. But for the ones who graduate, they're coming out of that program and they're doing 6 figures within their first year, like without question. We invest a lot in our people. My mom always said people first, and I'm a huge believer in people first above anything else.
I love your relationship with your mom because you mentioned it
Oh yeah,
all the time.
she's my North Star. I don't know if you can
Oh
see
wow,
that.
I
There you
see it.
go.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
amazing. I'm so
Yeah.
happy to hear that. It's very close to my heart because my daughter joined me in real estate.
Oh,
Yeah, so it
how's that been for you?
my daughter is like a very strong person itself. And I said to her multiple times, go and work for another team. She's also very young. She's 22 years old. I
Oh, okay.
said it,
I was 22 when I joined my mom.
yeah, amazing. And I love to let her be her. I said you should get a coach. You don't have to be in my shadow.
I can help in that regard. Let me know. I'm always happy to have a conversation, or she can spend a day with us and see what it's like. We're a very, very high performance culture, which some people just don't like. But I always say to people, if you're going to do something, do it well. Otherwise, don't show up. Like I'm not someone who's going to do something to 70%. I would be disappointed in myself. And I also don't really show up to lose. Like if I'm showing up, I want to win. I have a competitive mindset.
She's very competitive. She's extremely competitive. So I
Yeah,
know
that's a
that
good
as
thing.
well.
People say that in a bad way. I think that's a great thing.
No, I love that. It's something that I love about her
Mhm.
because I think in this society where participation is so encouraged rather than competition and it's who's talking about the agent that almost got the listing, you know, who,
Yes, yeah.
yeah. So the idea and having that feeling that you want to actually get it to win,
Yeah.
and she has that in her, and
Hunter.
what I
I
like.
call it the hunter mentality. She's a hunter.
Yeah, she's a tall hunter. I do believe that it's not easy to grow with a very strong mother. So I try to want to let her shine in her way, to feel like she owns everything that she does. So because of that, I'm trying to kind of push her and say, go and be surrounded by someone who's amazing, and just,
Yeah.
seen me all your life. So that's what
Yeah.
right
Yeah, and
now.
I think it's important. Like I was raised by parents who would never just give us anything. It had to be earned. My dad had a business and we were allowed to work in the business, but it had to be the worst job in the business. And then if we proved ourselves, no problem. We could be promoted the same way anyone else could be. And my mom was very much that way. Nothing was just handed to me. It was I had to prove myself, fight for it, and then once you demonstrated that you could win, then she would give it to me. It takes time to do these things
Yeah,
and to do them well. And I think that people want that sense. Something that's given to you doesn't feel good. You want to earn it. And I have three children. I expect them to work really hard.
yeah.
You don't have self-worth if you're given everything in life.
100%. What's the biggest misconception when it comes to being a team leader?
Um, it's interesting. I just did a big personality testing thing for my coach. I just hired a coach. And I think that people, so one of the things I've learned through doing that is I've been complimented by my team at being a very good leader in some ways, but less good in other ways. Mostly that I don't have as much time as I would like to spend with everyone. But the one thing that I've always heard, and the one thing that this testing confirmed, is that I lead with love. So I'm like a 91% lead with love. I care about the people around me, and they know that. So when someone feels that care, I think they feel that they owe the same to you, the same love and respect to you. And I think that's how good teams are built.
What came out on, because me just talking with you, I don't know much about you rather than the interview that we're doing right now, but I have in my mind what I would think that you are on a disc. I'm going to put it on paper, and then you tell me,
Okay.
um,
Okay. I'm not going to say anything. And this wasn't a disc test. I do know my disc though. So this was a TIS. So it's a 17-page report. It's a massive 144
who are
questions.
you coaching with? Because I did.
Her name's It's not a real estate coach. She's a performance coach. And her name is Nancy Spotton. She's great.
Got it. I coach with Tony Robbins, and they give me something similar.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
yeah, I want to know what you're on the disc, and I'll show you what I put on.
Okay.
What are you?
Okay. So I am a DIS, equal DIS. D. Yeah. So, but what's interesting about me is yeah, DIS is like a very weird combination. So this is the other thing I learned through this coaching report is my profile is equal to sort of the top 1,000 CEOs. Like I have a weird brain that way. And I don't say that because it's anything I've done. It's just,
No, it's
my
actually what
who I
comes
am.
on. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's the other advantage I've had in real estate is I'm very fortunate to have had a lot of exposure to business growing up, and not all of it successful.
Yeah.
Like for sure, I watched my parents succeed and I watched them fail too. And in my own life, I've had lots of failure in my own life. But through that, I've had also my greatest learnings. There's no question that, um, and I would say the other thing that's come out of coaching is I've learned how much grit I have is I don't onboard negative feelings. I'm not someone who harbors any anger towards anyone or anything. I just don't see the point in it. And I've had my fair share of difficult times in my life, probably more than my fair share. And that's okay because it's matched with immense blessing. So that's the way I
Yeah.
try and frame everything is sure, I've had
Yeah.
some pretty horrible things happen, but I've also, I live a life of being a single female who can raise three children, who is able to be surrounded by humans I love and adore. Um, my kids are like absolutely mind-blowingly impressive to me. They're good, good, good people. And all I've ever said to them is just, kindness always wins.
Yeah.
Kindness always wins. If there's one lesson in life, that is the lesson.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think, yes, I'm successful. Yes, it's been a lot of hard work. but it's nothing that other people can't do if they're willing just to have a really honest self view, willing to put the work in and just be nice to people. Like our industry has such a bad rap for people
I know.
who blur moral lines, treat other people poorly, and that's never going to serve you. There's no point.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's why we're trying to change that narrative, about this industry and what we do for our clients, because we do put really everything on the line for them, and day and night. I love the fact that you mentioned something, and for leaders that may not be aware of it, I want to touch on that you have the D and you have the I, and you have the S, in a very good balance.
Actually, yeah, you've learned to have the other. You've taught yourself. I mean,
Yes,
that's the other thing about DISC, right? It's some of it is innate behavior, some of it is learned behaviors. So, I was raised with three older brothers. I am not at all intimidated by men. I never even realized there was a difference. Like, obviously, I realized the genetic difference,
yes,
but I didn't realize that I was meant to be
yeah,
intimidated by men. Like, that just never occurred to me.
yeah,
So I never had that I don't know, glass ceiling perspective that some people have. And I'm immensely grateful. My parents used to say, "Oh, we feel so badly. You were raised by three boys who used to challenge you and tease you and beat you up and whatever." They were not that bad, by the way. Um, but to
were
me,
you,
it was like I was
well, you
raised
the
by
oldest?
three great people who I loved and who were fun.
Were you the
I'm the
youngest?
youngest.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's good. How do you foster a culture? Is there anything rather than obviously the day-to-day care to your people? Are there specific things like you mentioned at the beginning? You went and you took your team to reward them for the
Yeah.
performance in a vacation where it's not business, it's bonding with them.
Oh, it was like tennis and dancing and swimming and boating and eating and so much fun. And what do we do? So we do a lot of team building events that are genuine. They're fun, I like hosting, so I'm a big like DJ, let's have some fun type person. Yeah, we travel, we have open forum meetings, it's just pardon me for swearing, but just give a shit about the people who work around you. And if someone's going to break my culture, they will get fired on the spot. Like literally, I've fired people for gossip. If I hear someone gossip or speaking poorly about another team member, they're immediately fired. I don't care how much money they make.
Yeah.
It's just a
I wanted to
horrible,
ask you
horrible,
how
horrible
how you
mindset.
fire. Yeah. I wanted to ask you how you fire, but I get it. Just on
It's
the
just
spot.
open conversation. You're just not the right fit. Like this isn't a personal attack, but if that's who you think you are as a human being, it's not who I want to surround myself with. You are the product of the five people you spend time with. So if I'm spending time with 60 people, they better be good people.
Yeah. If you were to give an advice to someone that's at 100 sales right now with a tiny team of four, how would they get to 200?
You'd grow your team, probably. You'd work your CRM. You would probably study your losses to understand what you can do better and where you need to improve yourself. And you would make sure that the people that you're surrounding yourself with have the same goal as you, that they want to grow to 200. Because without their support, you're not getting there.
Got it.
So I think you have to make sure your goals are a combined goal, not a prescriptive goal that you're telling everyone else what you want the goals to be.
How do you motivate people?
Figure out their why. Everyone's going to be motivated by something different. What motivates me is very different than what motivates the person beside me and that person beside them. So why do people wake up in the morning? What makes them fight at the end of the day? What's going to get them through that 70-hour week? Is it paying their kids' tuition? Is it supporting their mother who needs to move to a retirement home? Is it going on a vacation? I don't know. You have to figure out what it is. For me, it's winning. I just like winning. I like growing. I like growth. I like winning. I'm past the point. That wasn't always my motivation. There was times where it was, feeding my kids. I was a sole breadwinner throughout my marriage. Um, so there was times where it was a lot more, very basic needs beyond any of the things I just said. It was like I need to feed people, I need to pay for school, I need to pay for my insurance and house, and I just need to survive. So that was my motivation for many years.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's evolved, as it does.
Sometimes it becomes harder when if you don't have that drive and greed like you have naturally. Um,
Mhm.
if you have a need, it's easier. If you don't have a need, you have to create a why. So,
Yeah,
uh,
I would say everyone has a need. They're just not honest about it.
yeah.
Like my need now is joy. I want joy. I want every day to be joyful. And whether that means winning today, maybe whether that means falling in love on Thursday, whether that means my kids getting into the US university they want to get to, there's something that will bring me joy every day. And just figuring out what that is. And motivations can change. Like my motivations will change, I don't want to say hourly, but certainly weekly.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have a beautiful life. My team sees it. I share my life with my team. My house is like a very open door clubhouse. It's what gives me joy.
That's amazing. And you can
Hmm.
it feels like that. If people that are in your team,
Thank
do they have a strict kind of structure? Do they have to work in the office? Are there specific meetings that they're mandatory? Do they have accountability on prospecting?
Everyone here has accountability. I think that, it's not fair for part of the team to have KPIs and the other part not to. So we all have our own KPI, key performance indicators. And they're across all the different parts of the business, whether it's being compliant with processes, whether it's committing to how you're going to build your business, whether it's setting a goal, committing a goal, whether it's how you treat the people that are around you. So yeah, we all have performance standards. I don't think you can have a successful business without having standards.
That's
And I have them for myself.
yeah,
This isn't just a one-way street, it's a two-way street. I have two sets of clients, the first being my team, the second being our clients.
yeah, yeah. And I always said you can improve what you don't track. So I'm huge. Like my trackers have trackers, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
I
Sounds
love
like you have
that.
great processing.
Yeah,
I mean, we all need to have great processes.
yeah. Do you have an ISA or the agents are doing that portion?
The agents do that for the most part. I
Right.
mean, I'll be very honest, one of my weaknesses is I'm not like I don't get right into the nitty-gritty of processes. I have other people who do that. I'm an ideas person, a strategy person, and then I have amazing people who can execute. We looked at having an ISA. I've talked to so many colleagues who are in sort of that high performance group of agents. And generally speaking, the feedback's not totally positive. We're very strict about how our brand is perceived by the public.
Yeah.
So for now, we're going to hold off on ISA, but we'll see what the future holds.
What about showing agents? For example, a newer agent starts as being a showing agent, becomes a buyer agent and a listing agent, or depending on their own character, they're going to fit the mold depending on who they are.
We don't limit our agents, but they do have to have the training to go out in the field. They have to do things the Heaps way, just because our clients have a certain expectation of us.
What was one question that you've been asked over time that was such a smart question that it would worth it the answer to be shared here?
Oh gosh, I mean, there's so many in my personal life that have been asked. In my professional life, oh, that's a difficult one. I mean, I often get asked, if you could go back to when you started the business, would you structure it differently? Would you do something differently? And I think, as I mentioned, I spent a lot of time with someone who was at that stage of their career building a business. And the one thing I thought about, financially, it would be better for me to have all of my agents on salaries and have them as employees, because then it's a much more controlled environment and the more profit is left for the company. But fundamentally, that doesn't serve my desire to see people win.
Right.
So for me, it wasn't the right solution, but for someone else doing what I'm doing, then maybe that's the right solution,
Right.
which is why when I talk about the secret sauce, I'm like, it has to be different. It has to be so specific to what works for you as a human, but also what works for you as a business.
That's interesting because it's not the first time I heard that, but I have yet to interview someone into that structure. But I would be very curious
Mhm.
to learn more about someone that's going under that structure.
I don't know, life is no 2 days are the same. And if you were to interview me tomorrow, you would get different answers about everything, I'm sure. But this is what I'm thinking about today. And I say that with, an air of lightness. Of course, I'm consistent as a human, but I just think that there's things that are topical in our minds that inform how we answer questions. So if you were to ask me tomorrow, the most important question I've been asked, maybe I'd have a different
It would
answer.
be a different one. Yes, 100%.
Yeah.
Anything that you would like to share with us that I haven't touched on, or you feel like it's important as a leader in this industry and the contribution that you brought to this industry altogether?
I think it's very nice of you to say I'm a leader in the industry, and I recognize that some people view me that way. I don't view myself that way, but that's kind. I think that, the one thing I will say to any leader is if you focus solely on money, you're never going to win. That is not a formula for success. I think we always have to remember what is best for the client is what should drive every decision. And as a human being, fundamentally, if you are not finding joy in what you're doing, you're not doing the right thing.
Yeah.
There is no point going through life, in my opinion, chasing money. You should go through it chasing something else that's going to feed you.
So that's a great advice. I'm so grateful that you were here with us today.
Oh, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you for
Thank you so much for the opportunity.